Aloha, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order. First off, we'll start with our roll call. Dylan?
Bernal,
Here.
Clark, De Quevedo, Knight,
Here.
thank you. Logue,
Here.
Nakamoto, here. Smith,
Here.
Burek.
Here.
All right, sir, we have court at 6.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have our approval of minutes. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review our September 22nd minutes. Are there any corrections or additions? Hearing none, we will adopt as distributed. Thank you very much. So next up is our public concerns. Do we have any members of the public that wish to be heard? I guess I'll ask in person first. Do you want to, Tom, do you want to?
I think you've got the Charter Commission stuff.
Okay, so I'll wait. Is there, okay, I see online, I think Kevin Lai, I'm not sure first, but Kevin, please go ahead.
Chair, thank you. I just wanted to note for the record that I did send in to you, as I'm sure you saw in your inbox, a list of the outstanding requests for information and requests for review as per Title II, 211-103 and 211-401. I hope that they can be worked into the agenda of the commission at the appropriate time so those outstanding questions can be addressed. Even though the incipient events may have been in the past, they're still important questions for clarification that need to be addressed and will inform the neighborhood boards and other participants in the neighborhood commission system. Thank you.
Yes, I think I did see that, but that was after the agenda, was already out. So we can do that. We'll address those in the future. Thank you. Next up is Greg Mersakian. Greg?
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I've been watching on cable via Alelo some of the different neighborhood board meetings, and most recently in the past few months, I've been watching a couple of different boards, and I've watched the downtown Chinatown board meetings, and I just want to raise a concern. So I'm a former Waikiki neighborhood board member, so I know the rules and procedures, which aren't always, unfortunately, followed. I also serve on a number of boards, and I'm president of one, and I chair a lot of meetings. And so what I'm concerned about and what I'm seeing is the chair seems to be disregarding concerns that are being raised by multiple board members, where they actually have the floor and they're speaking, and he'll cut them off while they're trying to speak and not allow them to finish in their speech. And that's not allowed. They're not saying anything derogatory, and they're just trying to raise a concern or raise a point of order or whatever it may be. And with respect to that, they're also raising concerns of a violation of the neighborhood plan. And so it seems like the chair, specifically the chair of the downtown board, thinks that he can set rules within his board that are outside the requirements or the rules within the neighborhood plan. And I don't believe that's possible. And also Robert's rules would take effect first. So if you could maybe take a look at that, I would greatly appreciate it, because every time I watch it, I feel like it's not the neighborhood boards, it's the neighborhood bullies. And I don't like to see that. And I'd appreciate it if you could address that. Thank you.
Thank you. I will let you know that I did attend. I've attended a number in the past, and I did attend, and we are trying to work with the chair. There's some movement on that front, which I'd rather not go into detail in public. But yes, that is something we're looking at. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a gentleman online, but I don't see your name. So if sir, if you want to.
I also have Jermaine.
Okay. Is that Jermaine? Okay, Jermaine Myers, please go ahead.
Mahalo, Chair. Congratulations. This is the first time I'm attending an NCO meeting. Congratulations on all the new commissioners. Welcome to the 3 new commissioners. And I appreciate seeing the new leadership as well. I'm just looking forward to hearing what's being discussed at this meeting's agenda. It was quite different than I've seen before, and I am excited about some of the things that you have on the agenda regarding the Charter Commission, etc. You know, I did attend downtown neighborhood board, Chinatown neighborhood board several times in the past, and I find that chair is very um good in holding the meeting. He does hold it towards um the board according to policy. And I do see that sometimes some board members, especially some that are on the meeting tonight, are very, very confrontational instead of, you know, collaborating offline, tend to be confrontational towards the chair during the meeting. So I'm hoping to hear how you see how it can be resolved. Because again, the meeting is about the community. It's not about infighting between the board members. I'm hoping that board members can understand that they have bully intensity as well, bully character as well. Sometimes you don't see your own self, but you can see everybody else. But I'm hoping that board members take that into consideration about their behavior and their action and trying to pick on beefs or fights amongst the board members in the public view, which is not pono. That is not pono at all. So I'm hoping that we can do things offline as far as board members, where everybody's put on their adult panties and bibbities, so to speak, local style, and you know, consider aloha and for one another. And again, the priority is the needs of the community, not our technical needs with one another. Mahalo, kia kuapu. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much for that. And we are looking at that. Are there any other community concerns? Go ahead, Tom, please.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you would introduce yourself too.
Thank you, Chair. Tom Heinrich, two things come to mind, and I appreciate listening to the others first. And this is one thing that I'm not sure what the Neighborhood Commission Office has done recently with some of the discussions with the chairs and vice chairs. I know there's been outreach there. But just two things here. The first is, and I have spoken directly to two chairs that I have witnessed recently on this, and that is a reminder, kind of parliamentary memo might be appropriate sometime soon, having to do with several things that have been brought up, but also I call the question. And what call the question is said more broadly as I call for the previous question, which is trying to then get to the main motion that is on the table, whatever. But the couple of chairs that I've spoken to, oh, somebody just said call the question. Okay, we'll now take a vote on the motion. And of course, call the question requires its own vote because it is an effort to end debate. And in order to protect the rights of the minority in that group or whatever, you first have to take a vote on that. And so what I have suggested to them is listen to the discussion, because most of the time when you get to that, you can kind of sense we're just about done. Are there any other comments? Fine, if we don't have to take a vote on that, are we done? Are we okay? And go right into it. So it's a matter of, you know, good chair training, et cetera. But that call to question is something that's come up several times in a couple of recent meetings in which unfortunately the chair then immediately stops discussion, goes to a vote on the motion. And you still had, in those instances, a couple of public members who had not yet had the opportunity to talk. And the second one, and I think Lloyd and I have had different discussions indirectly on this recently, but just a caution, if you will, and that is political season's already upon us, and that inappropriate reminder memo to all board members, and I'll just say after January 1st, may be very much in order based on individuals that I know are already candidates or planning to be formal candidates as board members, et cetera. And so it is a matter of pointing out the limitations on direct political activity while the meeting's going on, no prohibition on being a candidate, et cetera. So again, that's something that's coming a little bit earlier this year based on some of the announced moves. So call the question and political activity kind of questions in that way. Thank you. Chair.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Claire Santos. Claire, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commission. On tonight's topic of how to run a board meeting and be a good chair, I've had my discussions with you and Lloyd, and I know you folks are working on better training for board chairs and members. And I just want to put that out there that you folks do have something in the works towards achieving that. People aren't born knowing how to run Robert's Rules of Order. So better training for those folks and for the board members, and I think you'll have a great result. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any other community concerns before we move on? Any that you see online? Okay, speak now. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, we have our executive secretary's report. Lloyd?
Yes, speaking of training, part of it, there's two main things that I went over in the chair's meeting. And one of them was regarding training for board members, Robert's Rules of Order. There has been in the past, short videos that the NCO put together for some of that training. We're looking at reviving it and updating it maybe. We're also looking online to see what's available for possible training. So it's not something that, like, as Tom brought up, it's not something we are unaware of. And regarding Greg and his concerns with the way a meeting is run, I don't disagree that we can do better on all of our meetings and, start with the chairs. So we are, we're working on it now. Hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have something that we can provide to the chairs for training. The biggest challenge, I think, for us on training is that we almost have to do it by video and just have everybody watch a video. It's really hard to have 33 chairs and vice chairs agree to, okay, can you come down on this day on this time? It's just not possible. So, and I think that's something the commission, the office realized before, and that's why they made some videos. So we're going to look at updating them and see, maybe we'll, have some budding stars in our next video. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that was probably the main thing that came out from that meeting. The second thing was I wanted to let all the chairs know, so it's not a surprise to anyone, but we're going to update our website a little bit regarding to board members, information about board members. So we just sent it out today where we're requesting all board members to send us information, a little bio if they want, photo if they want, and what we do need is contact info. I'm asking everybody just if you can create even an email address so that people can contact you, your community can contact you. I think it was over time.
No.
I was like getting there, yeah. But anyway, that was the two main things, and just letting you know that we hope we can start by the middle of next month. We can have some new things up there in terms of board member information. One of the challenges I have, our office has, is that a lot of times we get calls, people wanting to be able to contact some of the board members, especially the chairs. There's a lot of times people want to be on the agenda, or there are times they're required to contact the chair, and they have sometimes difficulty. So we're working on that and we'll see how that goes. But other than that, it was a good meeting, and we got another chairs meeting next Monday. So
Thank you.
and you want me to just go into?
Yeah, and then I'll get comments after, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. The second item is an update on our AI generated minutes. And, it's been, well, first of all, you can never get everything perfect that everybody likes. So we do the best we can. AI has been fascinating for us because it has evolved. Even in a year, it evolves, it changes. So we're trying to stay ahead of the curve. We look at it from the standpoint that we will constantly have to work on AI, the artificial intelligence side, to do our minutes. Currently, AI just does what you ask it to do. So we went from 4 pages to, I think right now we're looking at 8 to 10 pages of minutes. And the general reaction has been everybody seems to like it. There's more detail. And at the same time, it is back with the video and it is back. The most important thing is that the voting is always there, so that's good. But again, just to me, it's like, you know, it'll be ever evolving. We're just trying to make it better and better as we go, but right now, we like where we're at, so.
Thank you. I will say, as far as the minutes issue, we did receive, and I hope everybody had a chance, testimony from a board member that preferred more minimalistic minutes as compared to what AI is generating now. And, you know, and I will say, as we've talked a number of times, each board can do what they want. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, the minutes are about what happened at the meeting. And if it's true reflection of what happens at the meeting, you know, whatever form you want, that's what happens. So I don't know. But does anybody want to make any comments? Any of the commissioners wish to ask a question of the report or have any comments about the minutes? Anybody from the community? And I see Jermaine. Would you like to go speak now, please?
Yes, Chair, thank you. I'm the board secretary for Nanakulimali Neighborhood Board number 36. And I've been on the board since 2017. I've seen all versions of minutes going along the years. And I tell you, this AI generated board meeting minutes is pretty accurate. And it's also pretty interesting that it does summarize the meeting, but it has the heart. What I feel is it's the perfect interpretation of Sunshine Law about it has to get the gist of the conversation. It really, really does. And I like having it the way it is right now. I just pulled up September's minutes just to go back and look at it and go, oh yeah, I like that. And so compared to before they started to use AI was very, very short. It just gave the timestamp and didn't even know individuals or context of conversation, I'm sorry, testimonies that happen from community members versus board members. So I love it very much and I hope it continues. And I'm one that advocates for AI as I've been the recipient of good AI you know, information. Mahalo.
Thank you very much for that. Kevin, go ahead, please.
Chair, thank you. Two things. First on AI and then secondly on something else. I think that the AI issue, it's important not to get lulled into a certain degree of complacency, regardless of who's generating the draft written summary. It still needs to be reviewed at the NA level and then again by the board secretary level, you know, because things will slip through and there may be nuances that the systems just don't yet pick up. As an example, for our board, number 13, you know, we still see recurring errors that can be easily corrected just by taking the time to read or do a once over, glance at whatever the draft may be to say, you know, that doesn't really make sense, or that word is still not spelled correctly. And that would save a lot of time. But the effort is great, and I do appreciate that. Secondly,
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Secondly, I just wanted to ask, apropos the executive secretary, of a complaint that was filed back in late September 2025. I haven't seen it make its way to the neighborhood commission, or has it been enumerated? I'm just wondering, is there any way to verify that submitted
Point of
complaints?
order, this is not the agenda item you're talking about, right? This is an agenda item. You're the very one that speak about, we need to speak according to
Well,
Sunshine
okay,
Law.
well, please wait. Please wait till you're called on. But I understand your concern, but as a member of the public, he can ask these questions. It's okay. Go ahead, Kevin.
Chair, thank you. And to clarify, I am speaking to the general Section 4 Secretary's report, not a sub-item.
Okay.
And so, again, I'm just wondering if there's a way to see if there was any sort of ex parte communication with any of the participants in the complaint. I'm just wondering why it hasn't shown up. Is there an expectation that complaints will be presented to the commission unless they clearly meet criteria in the current neighborhood plan for being denied by the executive secretary straight up? And so I'm just wondering if there's any clarity for that. If that needs to be handled offline, I understand such. I just hope that, until the amended neighborhood plan, if it is so amended, is approved, that we're still playing by the current rules. Thank you, Chair.
I can address briefly.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Kevin, briefly, while I'm not interested in getting into too much detail, it's not been put on the side. We are still working on it. It will come to the commission at some point. Some of the challenge we've had is because we're tied to the plan and how the plan says you must do things. And we had some challenges with certified mail. So, but just rest assured that it will come to the commission. It's not something we put off. It just was delayed, that's all.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I will let it be, just to be very clear, we're operating under the current plan. We're talking about amending the plan, but until that's actually effective, we're under the current plan. So with that said, Greg Masakian, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I want to echo what Board Member Lai said regarding AI. Be cautious, be careful, don't be complacent, don't be lazy. It's very easy for that to become an issue with the various boards and the various neighborhood assistants to see it maybe getting better. They think it's wonderful, and and I'm a techie, so I support technology. But then one day, you have a problem. And the courts have already recognized that, attorneys that are trying to use AI for their cases are getting in big trouble. So, remember, these are elected positions, and this is a neighborhood board system that's part of the city and county of Honolulu. It's not just some casual group that's just organized as a community group. So with respect to that, I share and echo the same concerns that Board Member Lai does. And I also share concerns regarding the complaint system, and since it was brought up just very quickly, that it's not being addressed in the time manner that it should be. That's part of the process. So in the numerous complaints that I'm aware of that were out there, and I had filed some, there were many, many, many delays. And that's a problem that it apparently is still an issue. So going to the 10-day format, I don't see how that's going to affect any future changes to all these delays with the mailing and things. You've got plenty of time in the cycle, in the life cycle, and they're still not getting addressed. So I do share that concern also. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? And then I'll come back we'll close it out with, well, Jermaine, did you want to speak? I think
Yes,
Did you,
Chair.
yeah,
Thank you
please
for
go
this
ahead.
thank you for this opportunity. Again, I am a secretary of our board, and I just want to point out that in every board, we are all volunteers. We even can raise our hand if we feel that it's very critical for precise and accurate board minutes. We have two opportunities to make that happen. Number one, we can volunteer to be the secretary. Or number two, when it says approval of minutes, we can raise our hand and say, hey, I want to point out certain corrections, and I'm going to email that to the NA so that we can save time on this board meeting to hear the community concerns. But administratively, I want to make these corrections. That's all we have to do. And again, to the point of sticking to the agenda, it says executive secretary report, and it's got two sub-agenda: summary of chairs and vice chairs meeting on Monday, October 6th, and update on artificial intelligence, AI generated minutes. But yet, Mr. Lai and Mr. Misakian, who likes to say that we got to follow board rules and sunshine law and policies, they had gone on and spoke about a non-agenda item. I just wanted to point that out. It's fair is fair. And you can see how easily, when we get back and forth on a board meeting, it holds up business. So I just wanted to point that out as an example of what happens when people flip-flop between, I want to follow the rules, but I want to ding someone on something, and not be pono and collaborative, because our chairs get elected by majority vote. And that's how they got the leadership role. So they were influential with other people in the community that ended up on the board. So I just want to point that out. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. I will say that if you look at the Sunshine Law, there's not a specific provision that says public concerns is the time where the public can raise issues. During a report, it's generally allowed to have a little bit of leeway for the public to bring up an issue. The agenda is mainly going to constrain the commissioners themselves and by law. So with that said, Tom, we'll close out with Tom. Thank you, though.
Thank you, Chair. Very briefly, and echoing a few of the comments that have been made earlier in this particular discussion on the minutes and AI generation. I think what would be especially helpful as you get further into this, and I say this without the knowledge of the NCO may already have, what I'll call a format guide sheet of some sort in terms of certain elements that need to be in the minutes or whatever, regardless of how they're prepared. And I just want to use one example where especially that review by the NA, by the supervisor and by the members on the commission or the boards are especially critical. I was in a situation with a different commission recently in which the AI minutes were presented, not bad, but the nature of the AI summary or presentation of the motion. And then because, like this meeting, it was both an in-person and commissioner participation by WebEx, a roll call vote had to be taken. So the full representation of that roll call vote is there, name, yes, no. What was not clear in any way on paper was what did yes or no mean? What in fact was the motion, because the motion was not completely stated and therefore you couldn't correlate it. And then as well, there was not a final statement of motion adopted or failed by such and such vote, whatever. So I think there's certain template things, if you will, that we need to be very sensitive to on our review, because on the other side of it, the amount of information that gets quickly summarized and put in order is pretty phenomenal. And it really helps provide that draft to then make sure that these other things are complete on their face. But especially when it comes to any motions and voting, because that ultimately are those action items. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that said, we will move on our agenda to our new business. And the first item of business is consideration of potential charter commission submissions regarding the neighborhood commission and the neighborhood commission office. And the reason this came up is because I don't know if the commission office received a copy. I would think they would have, but I received an outreach from an administrator or the chair of the charter commission asking for submissions. So that's why it's on here. Someone asked me. As for any particular submissions, I did put a copy of I think it's Article 14 of the city and county charter, which is the article that is relevant or deals with the neighborhood commission and the neighborhood boards. It's very short. It's actually only like a page and a half, but it is there online in our shared drive. And it's pretty simple. So at this time, I would not recommend we make any submissions, but I'll open the floor to the commissioners if anyone has any thoughts. I will say submissions are due by November 7th. So there's not a lot of time. So with that said, are there any of the commissioners want to say anything? Any members of the public? Angie, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say that I don't know if we have to send any in as a commission, but I did exercise my right as just a community person to submit a submission. So I do encourage and empower the commissioners to do that as well.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
as
Everyone,
community person.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Everyone is entitled to submit their own. This would just be a submission on behalf of the commission itself. Yes, everybody can do their own submissions. So thank you. Are there any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, then. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tom, please.
Thank you, Chair. Tom Heinrich. And as we were briefly discussing before the meeting started, really, I think at this point, as Chair has just said, anybody is free to submit their own proposals, whatever. I think that's most appropriate because of things that we're otherwise doing with committees by the commission, et cetera. The main thing, though, that I would strongly encourage the NCO and the commission itself, hopefully the boards themselves, to pay attention to is after November 7th, in fact, what does the table look like? Because each of the last two charter commissions, especially the one in 2015, 2016, did take up by motion of a charter commissioner a direct proposal to repeal, to simply remove Article 14 from the charter. And it was very interesting for the strength of the community response to that, and as well the strong majority of the Charter Commission at that point in opposition to that motion. But pay attention, there are some things that perhaps the Commission and the NCO may, and on behalf of the city administration, may need to respond to as the discussions progress.
Thank you. And I will say that we do fully, or at least I fully intend to keep track. And based upon the scheduling that I've seen, the public reviews are from January to March, I believe, or maybe May, I can't recall. So, but anyway, we will stay on top of that. And if there are any neighborhood commission related and obviously board related proposals, then that's something that I think would be prudent for the commission itself to address. But thank you.
No, appreciate that. Just one last quick comment. I just remembered that the last comment at the last Charter Commission meeting last Monday was that they intend now to start a bi-weekly meeting schedule. So the next meeting ostensibly should be next Monday, November 3rd. But again, some of that is still on some preliminary stuff because they're still short of the submission deadline. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Are there any last comments, questions, or concerns about this? Hearing none, we can move on. Thank you very much. Next up is consideration of a policy to require, I didn't know, this is kind of clunky the way it's articulated, and I wrote this, so sorry. To require allowance of board member participation in public comments or public concerns on issues raised by the public. And it's a little clunky, but what I tried to convey is there was a board meeting that I attended where the chair, by agreed policy, did not allow the members of the board to make comments or to ask questions of the members of the public who raised issues. So these are issues raised by the public, but the board members themselves were not allowed to chime in. And it sort of struck me as probably not a good policy, simply because, we're here, the boards are there to serve the public. And I guess I should have asked for it. But the boards are to serve the public, and sometimes a lot of the members can provide information, which would be good. Lloyd, I see you ready to say something, so please go ahead.
Well, if a member of the public brings something up and brings it to the board members themselves can certainly participate and ask questions.
Well, according to
the important clarification was through Sunshine Law was that OIP, the Office of Information Practices, opined that board members themselves should not be raising their own concerns during the section called public concerns. However, they further clarified that if a member of the public raises a concern in the public concern section, that yes, board members can then ask them to elaborate or get clarification, but they just shouldn't be using that section themselves.
Correct, but that's actually, we're not talking about Sunshine Law issue because the board members can respond. But does that mean that we should allow them to respond? So if a chair, in other words, they create policy to say, we will not allow the board members to participate in this discussion, that it doesn't become a Sunshine Law issue because the Sunshine Law doesn't care about board members.
But I don't know if they could if OIP is saying
You
that you
Well, they
can.
can. It doesn't say that they're entitled to. So therein lies the,
But I don't think the chair of a neighborhood board can supersede OIP saying you have the right to elaborate on a public concern.
I don't think that's what it says. It probably says you can. I don't think it says you have a right to. I'm pretty sure because, anyway, but therein lies the issue.
Yeah, this all started with that memo that came out from OIP, and it confused all the boards. And of course, bringing the common sense factor is, I agree with the chair. It's a time and place that you need to respond, especially on the, when you have your emergency responders, because everybody was interconnected, they couldn't ask questions. Well, they could.
Okay, yeah, but so this is just during public concerns when a member of the public raises a non-agenda item. Harris, did you have your hand up? Sorry. Does any member of the commission want to think anything further or say anything? So I think I saw Jermaine's hand up, please. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chair. What I want to say about this, and I've been listening to the dialogue, thank you so much for clarifying what that agenda item means. So on my board, and from what I understand from what OIP stated, we as board members cannot share community concerns. So just echoing what Commissioner Verre, Vice Chair Commissioner Verre stated. But during the community concerns, when the community brings up a concern, I believe the only thing we cannot do on community concerns is take action. Like we can't make a motion to now do something about what they said. So what we've done as a practice is we ask clarifying question about what the community is expressing. Sometimes it's just to help us understand what their concern is. But our chair will then tell them what's your concern. Like I will follow up with this. I will either follow up with NCO or a follow up, or I will have our chair of housing follow up with your issue, or a chair of land and water, or a chair will connect with you. So that's what we've done during community concerns. We take their concerns very seriously and we want to take action for those things that are actionable, but we don't take action in the form of a motion and say, now we move to now whatever, to support that community or whatever. We take a next step as far as trying to either learn more about the issue or have the committees vet the issue. And we've done that many a times, and we've come up with solutions for many of the community issues that they brought up during community concerns. It's always my personal motive to always try to take a community's concern seriously and try to follow up with it. Either myself or encourage another board member who's on a committee. But I will always, every time they come up, I listen and I follow up on it privately but most importantly, our chair does. I appreciate my board in Nanakuli, my neighborhood board number 36, and our current board members. And I most especially appreciate our chair, Malia Augustin. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Kevin, go ahead, please.
Chair, thank you. I just was hoping to get some clarification of the origin of the question that was posed with agenda item 5B. And was it certainly informed with the letter from OIP that Mr. Wetzel mentioned earlier, where it seems to me that OIP clearly stated that board members can/may discuss, ask questions, receive information raised by the public as part of the public input agenda. But as Member Jermaine just stated, correct, the board cannot deliberate or decide a matter that was not listed on the agenda, but was raised by the public. From your earlier comments, were you trying to suggest there would be a way to restrict or constrain that permission that appears to be pretty freely granted by OIP in its letter? I just want to see what the root cause is.
Well, I think the short answer, but let me clarify. So this means my impression or my recollection of OIP's letter is that the board may participate in a discussion. It doesn't it does not stipulate that the boards are required to allow the board members to participate. So that therein lies the question. It's can the boards adopt a prohibition of the board members from deliberating, concerns brought up by the public? That's the issue.
Okay, and
Okay.
was that question raised to Corp Council to resolve that straight away as per neighborhood plan, or rather Title II?
I don't think this is a Corp Council issue. This is merely a policy issue. I didn't check with OIP because OIP is most likely, and I didn't check, so maybe they would have a different take. But they're all about protecting the public. I don't think they have any interest in protecting the board members. That's my understanding. That's my impression. I can't speak for them, so I don't know. But that's my impression. So I saw, well, let me, I think Greg, let me go with Greg and then I'll come back, and then Stephen, I'll come back to you after that. But Greg, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I agree with your position originally as stated in the beginning. This may fall under Robert's rules. I don't know specifically. There's a slight gray area, but it may be black and white. It may be slightly gray. But the full board, in my opinion, the full board should have an opportunity to speak. Any board member that wishes to speak on an issue that's raised, that's allowed by policy, rules, regulations, should have the opportunity. When you shut off the board, so if the chair decides he doesn't want to let the board speak on that issue, maybe it's political, maybe he doesn't want to hear about it because he's against something and he just doesn't want it out in the public, that's a concern. So once it's out there, once the cork is, the bottle's uncorked, the board should be able to speak, the public should be able to speak, and nobody should be silencing the voices of either the board or the public at that point. And lastly, and you were there at I think it was at the most recent Waikiki Neighborhood Board meeting, I believe, if I'm correct, hopefully I'm not missing one. One of the board members, Mr. Mertz, raised a concern about the Aloi Bridge, asking about where it stood when a representative of the mayor's office was giving her report. Completely out of the blue, gave his opinion, said what he thought about the bridge, and opened up a little bit of a can of worms. Not on agenda. In my opinion, that's inappropriate. So maybe you can opine on that, and I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
Well, that's a different issue. I would like to bring that up separately. So I just want to stay on the issue that we have. So
Fine. That's
Michelle, if you'd like to come up. Thank you, Greg. And then Stephen, I'll get to you afterwards, if you would. Please identify yourself. Good
evening, Chair Smith and Vice Chair Beret. My name is Michelle Matson. I'm a member, longtime member of Diamond Head Kapalua St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board. And I am currently, this last July, secretary. Anyway, I'll have more to say on that as far as AI minutes are concerned, but not at this time. Regarding the discussion on board members participating with the community on community concerns, definitely these are not items on the agenda, but it is going to be very valuable for the board to evaluate placing it on the next agenda and hearing from whoever has input on it at the time, either for the next agenda or to say, okay, let's assign it to this committee. But a key point to this is many times we get information from our constituents, and those providing that information are not able to attend or log on to board meetings for whatever reason for that particular meeting for the community interest section. So board members should also be allowed to be the messenger for their constituents and present concerns that are not on the agenda.
Well, let me stop you right there. That's forbidden by the Sunshine Law. We can't do anything about that.
We cannot represent our constituents.
You can't bring up things that are not on the agenda as a board member. You cannot, only members of the public can bring up.
This would be under community concern.
I know, but I know, but board members and, talk to your legislators about this. Board members are just prohibited under the Sunshine Law from doing that. I understand what you're saying, but that's not following the law.
Well, I understand it might be subject to manipulation or personal interest, but then a lot of the information does get, it just goes under the bridge without being able to be represented before the board.
Thank you.
So how
Yeah,
to solve that problem?
I talked to your legislator. I'm sorry, James.
Maybe Leslie Hara can answer that.
Thank you, Michelle.
I think just point out something valid. One, I would say that usually boards have a board business section. Maybe it could be brought up there, but
Only if it's on the agenda.
only if it's on. So, like, what if you did something where, and I'm just thinking, like, she had a complaint from someone in our community. She can't bring it up, but is the chair allowed to read messages from the?
No, I mean, that's based on my understanding. I mean, Dylan.
So depending whether or not I agree or disagree or whatever, that's not the point. This is just the interpretation that I've received from OIP, and their stance, from my understanding, is essentially that because board members have the privilege of being on the board and being able to request to the chair whatever items should be on the agenda and have an actual impact on the agenda, unlike the public. Their view is that if community members come to you and raise something to you, of course, we're talking about there is a time limit in which you can add something to the agenda or request to the chair. But their view is essentially that if the public has the ability to bring something up to you, you have the ability to then put it on the agenda. So you have an impact on the agenda, and they're just saying you can't do it during public concerns. However, you can ask your chair, can you put this item that was raised from the community on the agenda?
Exactly, and that's another month beyond that meeting to be able to do that. And I understand it. That seems reasonable.
Thank you. Before I get to you, Steve, I will say, just to remind everybody, we have a very narrow issue here. We're sort of talking about a lot of things. The issue is will we allow a board or chair to prohibit the members from discussion with an issue raised by the public? With that said, Stephen, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Pat, I'm chairman emeritus for the neighborhood board for Milani Malka. And our board members do participate with the public in their discussions. Before we do anything, though, we always defer back to our chair to chair your commission, and then we all participate. And it does really help to make a wider breadth of discussion. And as you heard earlier also from Jermaine, we also help to arrive at solutions and resolutions. Solutions, pardon me, not resolution, but solutions for the community. And the community appreciates that.
Thank you, Steve. There's a gentleman in
Winston.
Oh, Winston. I'm sorry, I can't really see you. Can you state your full name and go ahead, please?
Hi, yeah, this is Winston Welcham, Chair of Neighborhood Board 5. And I just, also wanted to echo what Michelle said, because community concerns, we are representatives of the community. But beyond that, we're also members of the community. And if we have a concern as a member of the community that we wish to bring up there that is not on the agenda, perhaps it's an emergent concern that's happened since the agenda was published. I'm not talking about substantive discussion that would require an agenda item being put, noted duly about, an issue of concern, but the ability to speak just as a member of the community, I think, is muzzled by this if we don't allow this. And perhaps it's something where we say, I, Winston, am speaking as a member of the community and not as a member of the board. And yes, while Dylan said, we do have the ability to request things to go on the agenda, if it's an emergent issue, or if the chair decides not to put that on the agenda, which I think is her or his right, I'm not entirely sure about that, then maybe it doesn't get on, so it's not heard anyway. Finally, it seems like members of the community ask me to put things on the agenda, not just board members. And I accommodate that almost always because it's almost always related to something that's going to affect the community. So just some 2 cents there. Thank you.
Thank you. Angie, please go ahead.
Is your question prohibiting all discussion of board members, including clarifying questions?
The board in question that I went to had a rule that did not allow board members to ask or to have any discussion of public concerns. So when someone raised a public concern, they were not allowed to respond in any way. And so that is the question of whether this commission should make a policy, and it wouldn't be in the rules, but in the plan, but it would just be a policy. And would you say that's appropriate, that the commission can in fact do that? To direct the chairs or direct the boards to allow the members to participate in discussions?
Okay, I thought you were going to restrict, but you want to allow.
No, this is to allow, because we talked.
Yeah, I agree, because in my opinion, OIP says, yes, you can talk, the board members can speak, but you just can't vote, you just can't just have a decision.
Right.
But, yeah,
So- I'm sorry, Angie, did that conclude your remarks? I don't want to cut you off.
I had a comment, just, I wanted to clarify
Go
that
ahead,
part
please.
before I commented, because I was gonna say that as someone who has to have high schoolers as well as college students go on neighborhood boards, sometimes they don't give full context of what they're talking about. And so sometimes it helps to have the board members usher that person through what they're saying. And whenever we are taking notes to follow up on their concerns, it does help when we have the opportunity to ask more questions. Just like whether it be a specific thing that has to do with parking, if it has to do with a certain street light, just so we're able to confirm where it is and ask those questions about the context of it, so we are able to act on it.
Thank you. I think we've heard from about everybody, but I will let Jermaine have the last word. So go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to echo what Angie said. And in that, I would hope that the commission would do a policy in order to clarify a maybe confusing for some chairs and board members of what is acceptable during community concerns. I think having that policy would just take away so much angst about some that are part of the old regime that, oh, you can't say anything during community concerns. OIP opined about it, and they basically said, we just can't deliberate and make decisions, but it doesn't mean that we can ask clarifying questions in order to help come to a solution. And, you know, many a times people our board members I see would like to bring things before the board that community members had spoken to them in the community. But I think that's not the forum. We all have the power because we understand who's the legislature and everything. We can do so many things offline, but many times I see board members want to take credit for saying, and they want it on video saying, I'm the one who brought this to the concerns. There's so many things that we can do offline with our power that we should do offline. But in this instance, when a community member takes the time to come on virtually or in person to express the concern, I think it's most important that there's a policy that clarifies board members and the chair should have the opportunity to clarify it, and decisions made as far as go to this committee for further discussion by the chair saying, appointing it to commission, or we want your further information after the meeting. And so that solutions can be, we can come to solutions regarding our community members' concerns. Mahalo.
Thank you. So go ahead.
Just real quick, in terms of what you had asked before, and I want to take it back and say, yes, I believe it is something that the commission should entertain and, introduce a resolution or a position that asks the boards to comply with sunshine law and allow board members to ask questions and be part of discussion when a member of the public brings up an issue.
Okay, so can I have, is there a motion from a commissioner to say that we would that for boards, members are allowed to participate in a discussion for items raised during public concerns by the public. So second, anyone opposed? Oh, thank you, Maya. Anyone, any of the commissioners opposed to adopting this resolution, we'll call it, or motion?
I have a question.
With that, go ahead, Angie.
So you'd want this to pass as a motion rather than write an actual resolution or memo to the boards? Is that correct?
I think a motion is sufficient and we're just write it up. I mean, this would probably be a good opportunity to just remind them of the other parameters regarding public concerns and just list out what OIP requires also. But this is an important point, is that we want to allow the members to be able to communicate with people raising issues.
Okay.
So that's the motion. Now with that clarified, do you have an objection?
No, I support it. I just think it would
Thank you
help
very much.
to be
So with that
clear.
said, did you?
On the
I just want to make one comment here. I looked at this as an item to come up before the neighborhood planning committee, so we can get this right and make it right in the neighborhood plan and revision.
Thank you.
That's it.
Kevin, did you have any last concerns about this? We've actually already approved it, but go ahead.
Well, Chair, thank you. I was hoping to catch before the motion was put to the question, but again, I think I'm in favor of what the commission has or is about to do or may have already just done, but caution may need to be brought to Neighborhood Plan 214-118D, which does say that the boards can provide for reasonable administration of oral testimony by rule. I'm not sure if that applies in this particular case, but I don't know if that leaves wiggle room for someone to protest whatever was just adopted.
Well, I think in that case, the commission does not deem it reasonable, a reasonable restriction. And that's exactly what we passed. So, yeah, I hear you, but we set policy, so we made that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that said, we'll move on. Our next is just a discussion of the agenda informational links. And I did have a discussion with Dylan about that. I see he's writing. Hold on just 1 second. Did you want to talk about how we send out our links? Because someone brought that to my attention.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
So if we're talking about the agendas, obviously we have the meeting link up there. That's for this specific meeting, which is recurring. Below that, we have recordings, and that is our generic Neighborhood Commission Office YouTube page. It does not take you to a specific playlist. It gives you the option of seeing all the videos that we publish. After that, we have the Google Drive link. So that's an online repository for testimony, any information that should be used at these meetings. That link, again, is a general link to the commission's folder. Within that, you can see previous years, months, testimony folders specifically. Then we have committees. So the reason we use a general link is it prevents someone from being locked in one specific month's folder. If I were to use a specific month for October for this meeting, you would not be able to backtrack and go see what everything else is out there. So we see it as a disservice to have a specific link. And then if we look at the minutes, you have the specific meeting recording for that month, because that makes sense as well. And then we have the Google Drive link again. So that's what we put on minutes and agenda.
Thank you. I'll just let you know, this came up because someone mentioned, why don't you have a specific link to like the folder in question? And so this was just to let people know what our policy is and why we have it. So Kevin, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Chair,
please.
thank you. I think I also had some concerns about this in the past. We may have discussed it offline, but just wanted to clarify if the link to testimony accessed through the Neighborhood Commission webpage on the NCO official website, if it all links to the same information accessible through the URL that's now printed on the agenda documents for the Neighborhood Commission. I've just tried to test it right now in real time and it's bouncing around, so I'm not sure if it's going to land at the same place. But just want to make sure that can be tested so there's a uniform way to reach testimony and then also the board packets and things like that, if that's something that's desired from the agenda URL. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Dylan.
But yeah, if that was a question, just to clarify, those folders for testimony are linked. So we did create one for the Neighborhood Commission Office. So when we receive testimony via email, We will put that into our folder, which is viewed on our website. But that folder via Google Drive is also linked to this commission and the board's folders for testimony. So it serves both purposes.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions about that? Because I do get that comment a lot, and I just thought it was important to have that on the record as to why we don't have direct links and we do things the way we do. So are there any questions or concerns or comments before we do this? Yeah, Michelle, please.
Yeah, just very briefly, I find it a little disconcerting when I log on and I get all these YouTube meetings. And I can't find the commission's meetings. And we really need direct links for commission meetings. We have these for neighborhood boards, for agendas, minutes, committee meetings. But it's really important to a lot of us, especially neighborhood board members, to be able to see what's happening at the commission meetings and the commission committee meetings, especially now.
Well,
So we need to have this resource to refer to, and I'm not sure how we can work that out.
Well, I think we do. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the first thing I would say is on our YouTube page, there are 33 boards plus the commission. So I
Right.
understand that if you look at the main page, it's a bunch of videos. And
Right.
they're all based on time when they're posted, but we do have a playlist. So every time we upload a video, and we do it ourselves, is this meeting is going to go to the commission's playlist, a folder. So you could bookmark that on your computer, and it's just the commission's playlist. And the first video you see up every time should be the one that's the latest.
Right.
So tomorrow, this video should go up there and you'll see it in that playlist. That's an easier way of finding it. Other than that, there's no way I could put tonight's recording link on this agenda. What we do is add it to the minutes, which I know doesn't help if you wanted to see the meeting
Well,
tomorrow.
that's okay. Just tell us how to get to the playlist.
Okay. Just call our office, I'll walk you through it.
Yeah, and if you go to the webpage, it's just 00. So if you like board number 00, so
I see.
that's an easy way. So, like instead of board 5, it's 00. Okay, thank you. Jermaine.
Mahalo, Chair. I'm grateful for the links on the agendas, and the reason for that is that I mean, in a perfect world, when we hit the link, it would be we would see all the reports and all the testimonies at the moment that we click it. But as board members, when we click on our agenda just before we start the meeting, many a times the reporters don't provide reports until the actual date of the meeting. Like, for example, HFD. They walk in with their report, they give it to the chair, and then they start reading it. So that's not going to get loaded until the NA gets back to the office and scan it or etc. Some of the reports are emailed to them ahead of time. Sometimes it's not. I mean, we've asked as a board, we've asked our legislators, whether city or state, and even the Navy, the Army, please email us at least a couple days in advance so at least we can be prepared for the meeting as far as the material that they're going to go over. But let me tell you, all the way up hour before the meeting, half an hour before the meeting, 15 minutes before the meeting, my emails are coming in with reports from our legislatures, ready city council, and sometimes actually during the meeting it's happening. So the links are a place that we know that there's a depository of information. But whether or not it's time sensitive and accurate for the moment that you want to get it may not be. You might have to go another day later or 2 days later, depending. And I think we should have a lot of grace for our NAs. I mean, they have to host so many different meetings, etc. And I'm not making excuses for them, but what I am saying is that we should have grace with one another. We shouldn't expect perfection and moment by moment when we want it and throw a tissy if we don't get it when we want it. So I just wanted to advocate for the links. I've been on the board since 2017. It's come so far, and I just want it to continue to grow. And I appreciate all the growth and all the updates and changes that NCO has been making. I hope I didn't go over time. I'm sorry. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Greg, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just to briefly comment on what was just said. I appreciate that nothing's perfect in our world. It's not perfect, and we do the best that we can. But as you know, and I've shared with this commission previously on many occasions, as others have, many board members have, with concerns regarding materials not being available for the meeting. But there is a rule and there's a sunshine law pertaining to that as far as meeting materials that should be made available so that the public has the ability to see these and make a decision also if they would like to attend the meeting. So if there's a PowerPoint presentation that exists, granted it would need to exist, it's going to be shown at the meeting, that should be uploaded so many days prior. Now I forget if it's 2 or 4, but it's one or the other. And Chair Smith, you can or one of the members there in the room can opine on that in a moment. But that material is important, and having it easily found by whoever's looking for it, especially our Kapuna, I'm a Kapuna advocate, is what we're looking for. That's what board member Michelle Matson is saying, that, make it easy for us to click and find, not click and then not know where to click next and then where to click after that to find what you're looking for. And that's actually what the new website is when it was changed a couple years ago. So we appreciate, I think everybody in the community appreciates some transparency and some ease of that. But there is a documented process and there are rules and regulations that need to be followed. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we are trying to listen to the community and make things easy, and we're trying. I think the commission, the NCO, is trying to say they do things the way they do for legitimate reasons. And if anyone has any specific suggestions, please they can send it in to the NCO. And if it's a great idea, I'm sure that they will implement it if it's possible. So with that said, I think we can move on. Thank you very much for everybody's comments. The next item on the agenda is just to review the committee appointments, and really all this is just to add an appointment to the Neighborhood Plan Committee. Currently, we have Commissioners Veray as the chair, Maya, and myself. I sit ex officio, and then we have Kathleen Ponui Lloyd as our executive secretary representative on the committee, and then Cross, and I won't say Cross's last name. It's really long. So we only have 6 members currently. So we want, sorry, Cross, if you ever watch this, but he'll laugh. I would like to appoint Angie Knight as our 7th and I think final member of the committee. So are there any objections to the appointment of Commissioner Knight? And I hope Commissioner Knight does not object. I guess that would be the big objection.
Questions, as always.
Yes, yes.
With me being on the committee, how many of us is that?
That would be 4 commissioners and 3 board, I'm sorry, 4 commissioners, 2 board members, and then the executive secretary. So it'd be a total of 7 people.
Okay. No, I was just trying to remember the conversation we had last Monday, that's all.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of us present, yeah.
Okay, so we're with no objection, that will be the appointment, and we're good to go. Thank you. So with that, we conclude our board business and we move to committee reports, and our only committee is our neighborhood plan. So Chair Veray.
Well, thank you, Chair. Last week, Monday, the 20th, we conducted the neighborhood plan committee meeting, and of course, the area that we've been working is the complaint process. Of course, Chair Smith has had to lead on this for many months as we've gone through this thing and really trying to streamline it, make it extremely fair, but getting it to a point because it was much too long to be able to act on complaints. So we were at the point doing our final review, and then the NCO came up with some creative ideas, and We looked at those last week and we're in the process of trying to incorporate some of those ideas. I think what's really important right now, I think part of the creativity out of that was looking at how much the neighborhood boards can do in this complaint process. Because you all know sometimes there's complaints between board members. When there's complaints between a couple of board members, the chair should be involved with that. The chair should be able to take care of that at that particular level. However, when there's a public complaint that comes in and it's against the chair, you can't really have the chair take care of that situation. It has to be bumped up to the next level. And of course, in that process too, there's opportunity for some mediation. So please bear with us. Next month, we're going to go back, we're going to see what we were able to integrate into it. We'll review it again. And eventually we'll get this over to, we're going to get it to OIP, right? So for a quick review. Then we'll get out to
Corporate council.
and corporate council, and then let the boards take a quick look at it for any final ideas on it. And then hopefully we're done with that. But I also want to say some good news. We're going to jump into some exciting areas of the neighborhood plan, because with the surveys that have been done in the past, and plus things that we're hearing here every day, we want to try to get those areas updated. And that's really board with what you're doing during board business usually. So please bear with us. And if you have nothing going on next, I can't remember the date, but it's the third Monday in November. If you have time available, please join us.
Yeah, we're gonna work out the meeting schedule. That's a little questionable, so.
Oh, yeah, because we have the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
That always screws it up. But that's all I got, Chair.
Thank you. I will let Kevin, I'm still reviewing the review you did, since it's rather lengthy and going through it. So maybe I can talk to you at some point, with the chair. But thank you, Larry. So with that said, we can go on to our announcements. On the agenda, it says November 20, all right, it says 17th, but that's the third Monday of the month. So I didn't know if was the 20,
This is all tentative. So it's okay.
okay, so it's tentative. Are you going in the wrong direction?
Yeah, I know at one point we switched to the second Monday, but I think the intent was always the third Monday. So.
Well, that was the planning committee, so the NCO itself. So, okay, so the third Monday of the month is the 17th. The fourth Monday of the month is the 24th, which would be the NCO, but that is on holidays. Now, I can't remember, we didn't.
No holiday.
Okay, I know. So is everybody okay with doing the 17th for the plan committee and then the 24th? That's how I have it written here for myself, so.
Did you say recess?
No. Okay, you got me there. So we will have the commission meet on Monday, November 24th. Same time, same place. We'll have the neighborhood plan committee meet on the 17th at 6 a.m. here. So with that said, are there any other announcements anyone wishes to bring up? Hearing none, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. We're adjourned.